The Trump administration has opened a new front in its pressure campaign against Venezuela, striking directly at the heart of Nicolás Maduro's inner circle. The U.S. Treasury has announced sweeping sanctions targeting 3 nephews of the Venezuelan president, along with businessmen, companies, and ships tied to the regime. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said that the newly announced sanctions were a result of the Maduro administration's dictatorial and brutal control of Venezuela.
Nicolás Maduro and his criminal associates in Venezuela are flooding the United States with drugs that are poisoning the American people.
The sanctions landed just a day after President Trump revealed that U.S. forces had seized an oil tanker off Venezuela's coast.
With Venezuela, now that we've seized this tanker, is the campaign against Venezuela still just about drugs, or is it now also about oil?
Well, it's about a lot of things, but one of the things it's about is the fact that they've allowed millions of people to come into our country from their prisons, from gangs, from drug dealers, and from mental institutions, probably proportionately more than anybody else. They came in from many countries. We're getting them out. We had 11,888 murderers come into our country. Many of them are from Venezuela. We had thousands of Tren de Aragua, the gang, come in from, which they say is the most violent gang. I don't know, MS-13 is pretty bad, but Tren de Aragua, they say, is the most violent gang. That comes from the prisons of Venezuela. It came out of the prisons of Venezuela. So it has to do with a lot of things. They've treated us badly, and I guess now we're not treating them so good. If you look at the drug traffic by sea is down 92%. And nobody can figure out who the 8% is, because I have no idea. Anybody getting involved in that right now is not doing well. And we'll start that on land, too. It's going to be starting on land pretty soon.
Officials say these moves are part of a renewed effort to choke off Maduro's revenue. Revenue, Washington claims, fuels corruption, repression, and a billion-dollar narcotics pipeline.
What I can tell you right now, the vessel has been seized, as you know, and the Department of Justice did that in conjunction with the Coast Guard and the Department of War. The vessel is currently undergoing a forfeiture process right now. The United States currently has a full investigative team on the ground on the vessel, and individuals on board the vessel are being interviewed, and any relevant evidence is being seized. With respect to the oil, that's a different issue. As you know, Peter, the vessel will go to a U.S. port, and the United States does intend to seize the oil.
Among those sanctioned, Franqui Flores, Carlos Flores, and Efraín Campo, names familiar to U.S. authorities. The nephews of First Lady Celia Flores were at the center of a 2015 DEA sting, convicted on major drug trafficking charges in New York, and later released in 2022 during a prisoner swap with the previous administration. Now they are right back on Washington's radar, accused of helping move Venezuelan oil through shadowy networks of ships, shell companies, and foreign businessmen. One of those businessmen, Ramon Carretero of Panama, is accused of partnering with the Maduro-Flores family in multiple firms designed to evade sanctions. Treasury officials say the new penalties will freeze any U.S.-based assets, block access to American banks, and punish any U.S. companies that dare to do business with them. The United States placed a $50 million bounty on Maduro in August 2025, doubling the previous reward and intensifying long-standing allegations that he is a major narco-trafficker responsible for helping move fentanyl-laced cocaine into the country. This current escalation comes amid a deadly U.S. campaign at sea. American forces have carried out a series of lethal strikes on boats suspected of smuggling narcotics in the Caribbean and the Eastern Pacific, operations that have killed at least 87 people since September.
What I can tell you right now, the vessel has been seized, as you know, and the Department of Justice did that in conjunction with the Coast Guard and the Department of War. The vessel is currently undergoing a forfeiture process right now. The United States currently has a full investigative team on the ground on the vessel, and individuals on board the vessel are being interviewed, and any relevant evidence is being seized. With respect to the oil, that's a different issue. As you know, Peter, the vessel will go to a U.S. port, and the United States does intend to seize the oil. However, there is a legal process for the seizure of that oil, and that legal process will be followed. What I will tell you, Peter, is that the Trump administration is focused on doing many things in the Western Hemisphere. The president has taken a new approach that has not been taken by any administration for quite some time to actually focus on what's going on in our own backyard. And there are two things that are very important to this administration. Number one, stopping the flow of illegal drugs into the United States of America, which we know has killed hundreds of thousands of Americans. The president promised on the campaign trail that he would demolish the foreign terrorist organizations and drug cartels around the world, especially right here in our own hemisphere. And you have seen that he is delivering on that promise. With respect to the oil and what happened yesterday, the Department of Justice requested and was approved for a warrant to seize a vessel because it's a sanctioned shadow vessel known for carrying black market sanctioned oil to the IRGC, which you know is a sanctioned entity. So the president is committed to stopping the illegal flow of drugs into our country. He's also fully committed to effectuating this administration's sanction policy, and that's what you saw and the world saw take place yesterday. I think the president considers the seizure of the oil tanker as effectuating the administration's sanction policies, which I've already discussed previously.
Potential invasion or potential land strikes in Venezuela aligned with the president's supporters, the MAGA base, does it risk the potential for a prolonged war and U.S. troops involved in that?
Prolonged war is definitely not something this president is interested in. He's been very clear about that. He wants peace. He also wants to see the end of illegal drugs being trafficked into the United States and taking the lives of hundreds of thousands of Americans across our country. And he's thinking about that every day here at the White House. With every drug boat that is taken out by this administration, we are saving thousands of lives by deterring those drugs and stopping those drugs from flowing into our country. You will all, excuse me, you'll all hear, excuse me, you will all see the president tonight. He'll be making remarks at the Congressional Christmas Ball, which will be taking place here at the White House. And later this afternoon, he will be signing some congressional bills and executive orders that we, as always, will keep you apprised of on how much progress our country has made under President Trump's bold leadership. Given the complete mess that President Trump inherited from Joe Biden and radical left Democrats in Congress, what this administration has accomplished since January 20th has been nothing short of remarkable. While most politicians promise big on the campaign trail and break those promises once they get into office, President Trump promised big and has delivered even bigger. On the economic front, after inheriting the worst inflation crisis in over 4 decades, President Trump's pro-growth policies are making tremendous progress to make America affordable again. Under the painful Biden years, inflation reached a record high 9% and devoured Americans' purchasing power. In President Trump's term thus far, inflation has dropped to an average of just 2.7%, marking critical progress. The Trump administration is working hard every single day to bring down the cost of living through bigger paychecks and lower prices.